Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second ever episode of the Orso You Thought podcast. This week, I have a few things to talk about. I want to talk maybe a little bit more in depth about my dislocated elbow and the issues that have, stemmed from it, as well as some of the past shows I've had, the upcoming shows I have, the wedding I just recently attended in Ireland. And the most important thing on the agenda is to speak about my GCW World title match in Atlantic City on August 23rd against Effie. A lot of major things coming up. I have multiple title matches on the horizon, as well as that match with Effie. Again, I don't have a co-host this week, and a lot of people liked the solo Orso show. And so, wow, a lot of rhymes there. I kind of going to just come back with it one more time. I'm literally about to head to another show. I'm filming this on the day it will be released, August 9th, Saturday, August 9th. I'm going to This Is Wrestling Tonight Summer Bazaar in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Not scheduled to wrestle on the show, but I will be doing some things that you'll probably definitely see on social media. Again, this podcast is exclusively on Patreon. I will be releasing some sort of snippets or quick little minute sound bites from this podcast and putting it out so people can understand and know about the Patreon. Again, the Patreon is going to consist more of motivational content, behind the scenes look at my life and career, and behind the scenes look at my mindset on a lot of different things in professional wrestling. We've had a lot of things happen in professional wrestling this week. SummerSlam just passed. During SummerSlam weekend, there was a giant tryout for WWE that a lot of independent names appeared at. We had the crowning of the WWE ID champions, which I have some opinions on as well. And then, everything in the evolving world of pro wrestling that I try to keep my finger on the pulse of happening around me. And it feels weird, right? Because I do feel that with my new gimmick, and people call it a gimmick, but I really think it's a new mindset more than anything else, because I literally am trying to live this gimmick in the best way possible. Because I do feel like it is an extension of who I truly am. With this, I knew it was going to take some time to get it off the ground, to get the ball rolling in the right directions. You have to have some proof in your pudding, per se. You have to build a resume as KJ Orso before you can expect KJ Orso to just get signed up somewhere. Now, do I feel like I made a lot of headway in a short amount of time? You're goddamn right I do. I think I have hit the ground running. I think I have made so much progress in just a short amount of time at flipping everything on its head, of doing the complete 180. You think on April 18th, 19th, I forget exactly what day it was, Fuego del Sol loses his mask and leaves his boots in the ring. May 3rd, I show up in Los Angeles. I turn on my so-called best friend, Sam Stackhouse. I drop him with a steel chair to the head. I double stomp him into oblivion. I switch my look up completely, going from long tights and a mask to trunks to boots, calling out the top dogs. I faced off against one of the best wrestlers in the world in Masha Slamovich, one-on-one. And Sam Stackhouse comes back, screws me out of that title. Which leads to one of my greatest matches that I've ever had, especially in the short time of KJ Orso. It is the best match. The I Quit match against Sam Stackhouse at GCW, boss of all bosses. And I subsequently double stomp Sam's wife's head directly in front of him in an all-time GCW moment. I feel like I've created multiple GCW moments just this year alone, but especially in that match. And it propelled me to where I feel like I deserve to be, and that is in the main event scene of GCW. That propelled me into the stratosphere of where I want to be, and that is one of the top independent names in all of pro wrestling with this new gimmick gives me the ability to express myself and speak my mind and showcase just how damn good I am on this microphone every single week. Because this vigor that I have within me, this dedication, this arrogance, you can even say, behind every word I say, I truly feel it when I say it. I don't like to be discredited. I don't like for people to downplay how good I am. And I had to flip that switch in my mind to realize that they're not on my level. They are not as smart as I am. Because if you can truly consider yourself a student of the game, if you truly consider yourself a hardcore wrestling fan, as so many people do, and you're not paying attention to what's really happening in independent wrestling, then I feel like you're all talk. You don't walk it the way you talk it, and that, my friend, is one of the biggest crimes you can commit. I feel like, if I'm going to walk around and call myself the shaman of sophistication, if I'm going to call myself the silver-tongued savant, then I must walk it like I talk it. I must back it up. That doesn't mean I'm not going to have stumbling blocks along the way. That doesn't mean I'm not going to trip over my words or say something stupid or stumble, because I am human. I do not claim to be a symbol of sainthood. I claim to be a symbol of success. I said that in a recent promo, and I absolutely mean it when I say it. There has to be something real behind this front-facing thing that we put out on camera. And there is. For 11 years, I was trying to figure out my place in professional wrestling. I shut up. I zipped my mouth. I opened my ears. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate this. What can I do better here? How can I get better over there? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to fix to get to the upper echelon of where I want to be in this game? And sometimes my eagerness to learn, my eagerness to humble myself before people I feel like are better than me, it created this stigma of, oh, he's not confident in himself, or, oh, he's not as smart about this game as I am. No. I feel like even you can learn from a homeless man, you can learn from an idiot, you can learn from someone with mental disabilities. There's always something to learn. Maybe it's something you learn not to do. But I have always yearned to better myself, not only in wrestling, but as a man. And so for me to not try to soak up all the knowledge that I've been surrounded with for 11 years would be blasphemous. But also for those people to look down on me or try to box me into a certain demographic or a certain level in this game and not give me my just due, or try to downplay me just because I don't claim to know it all, that's absolute bullshit as well. And I'm here to call people on their bullshit. I'm here to hold people accountable. That's exactly what the new gimmick is. And I'm sorry if it feels like I'm rambling, but I feel like I'm on a roll. Now, there is going to be an egotistical mindset, an egotistical aura that I walk around with. And I don't mean it to be as arrogant as it comes across. But also, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And that's a cliche. Absolutely. However, allowing people to get more of your time than they deserve, or allowing people to take more of your time when you should be focusing on yourself, is a detriment to you. Unless, and I'm not saying, human to human contact, relationships are great. However, when someone sees that you might be in a better position than they are, they will sometimes try to squeeze and suck you, for everything you're worth. They will use you in a way. And I refuse to be used. I rhyme a lot. I use a lot of alliteration. You're going to have to get used to it if you're listening to the Orso You Thought podcast. So this is what I'm trying to establish with this new gimmick. This is the type of mindset I'm, putting out. I feel like with this mindset that I'm trying to institutionalize, I am getting the ball rolling, but it's not where it needs to be yet for everyone to be like, damn, we need to sign this guy immediately. There has to be some proof of concept. And I feel like the best way to do that is to win a bunch of titles. And I got a lot of title matches coming up right now. Currently, I hold the 3X Wrestling Championship company in Iowa. I won it on my very first night as KJ Orso. The very first match as KJ Orso, I captured a championship. I have Iron Warriors Pro coming up on August the 21st in Denton, Texas. Their first ever show. I'm in a fatal four-way against 3 of Texas's top talents. Again, a lot of alliteration. And I very well must prove that I can hold that championship. On August 16th at Texoma Pro Wrestling in Oklahoma, I have another championship match against Ironside, the God. And I plan to hold that. So with the 3XW Championship, and if I can capture the Iron Warriors Pro title and that Texoma Pro title, I'll be holding 3 championships going into August 23rd. August 23rd is the biggest independent pro wrestling match of KJ Orso's career. Me versus Effie. Effie is currently the GCW World Champion. GCW is the top independent organization in the world. They travel all around. They run shows constantly in different areas. No one is touching GCW when it comes to just production and just pure amount of wrestling they put out on a yearly basis. The buzz that they get off these shows are great. I knew when I left AEW, I was going to have to establish myself in GCW. There are other places absolutely that have a lot of buzz that I want to get to or I have, talked to. However, GCW was the spot I knew I needed to be at. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that this was always in the back of my head. Effie won that title at the Hammerstein Ballroom in January. He's defended that title against multiple names in this business. I'm talking, he's been the definition of a fighting champion. Whether they are GCW regulars, legends, people randomly popping in trying to make a name for themselves, or people he's been in long-term feuds with, or people that have proven themselves. You think of names like Charles Mason. You think of names like Atticus Cogar. You think of names like one called Manders. They all stepped up to the plate. He's beaten them all. It's gotten to the point now where we don't know who or when Effie can be beat. Who's going to be able to even give him a challenge? Who's going to be able to even measure up to him in a sense of like, there's actually a shot that this guy is going to beat Effie tonight. Until now. Because there's only maybe one other name, I feel like, that has rivaled my output and my buzzworthy promos, matches, and just overall perception in wrestling. I feel like since 2025 started, I have been on an upward trajectory and nothing has been able to stop me. Effie might be the GCW World Champion, but I feel that I am the hottest name in GCW right now. And there's arguments to be made for other people, absolutely. I'm not an idiot. Like I said, the savant sees all sides. However, the other top names that I feel like could challenge me for the hottest name in GCW have stepped to the place, and for one reason or another, they lost to Effie. I feel like the odds are in my favor. However, there's a few downsides to this match. I'm going to be very frank with you, I should say. The downside is it's in Atlantic City. And I know Atlantic City is like a home of GCW wrestling. However, Atlantic City sucks. They are bloodthirsty lunatics. They only care about blood and gore and death matches. And I wrestle more astutely than that. I wrestle more profoundly than that. I am a much smarter wrestler. I feel like Zack Sabre Jr. has a phenomenal quote to where he says, it's like reading Shakespeare to a dog. That's what I feel like wrestling in Atlantic City. Because it's truly ridiculous that they are not even intellectually capable of appreciating the talent that stands before them. It's honestly a tragedy. It's honestly a travesty that I have to wrestle and win the title in front of Atlantic City. It's ridiculous, honestly. And then there's another giant, red flag. It's the fact that I would be very naive to think that me double stomping a man's wife in front of him means that this story is over. I know Sam Stackhouse probably wants some revenge. I would love to think that, hey, he realized that his best friend is dead and gone. I would love to say that he's going to understand that I will always outsmart him. I will always outwork him. And that he won't try to even attempt to get involved in this match. But if he does, the shaman of sophistication always has a plan. And I let my naivety show in the match, the JCW title match against Masha Slamovich. I thought he was going to be out longer than he was. I thought he wasn't going to be coming back. And he came back and he cost me that JCW title match. However, this is bigger than that. So I will do whatever I have to do, put security measures in place to make sure that Sam Stackhouse does not, cannot, will not ruin my GCW title match. I will do whatever I have to do to make sure he doesn't get into that ring, that I don't allow his music to be played to distract me, that Sam Stackhouse will not cost me that title. It's no easy feat. He's a 450-pound behemoth. He's probably, pissed off. He's probably going to want revenge. And I'm sure he will take a little bit of pleasure in trying to cost me that match. So, I have to be a step ahead. And I can't let the wrestling cliches get to me. I can't allow him to come out, thinking he's going to come out from the entrance, and then he attacks me from behind. That's stupid. I can't allow his music to distract me from getting the job done and finishing my mission of winning the match. That would be dumb. But I also can't allow myself to over-prepare to where I'm so worried about him and not worried about the dangerous threat that has beaten everyone, that is known as Effie, in the ring. That's the current struggle. Because I've never held a world championship in this business. And I truly believe that a GCW title is actually a legitimate world championship. A lot of companies call their titles world titles. But if you're only running in one state or a couple states, you're not a world championship. Some people defend their title once in one other country, right? I might take the 3X Wrestling Championship and defend it in Italy or the UK or Spain and want to say it's a world championship. One defense does not make something a world championship. You have to defend it against all comers from around the world, and you have to travel around and defend it for it to be a true world championship. Effie has done that. Effie has defended that title in multiple countries. Not just one, not just two, multiple countries. Effie has beaten all comers. I would love to see, I'm sure he's got the list of how many people he's wrestled from different countries that he's beaten for this title. However, none of them have the last name Orso. I say all this to say, I'd be lying to you if I tried to downplay how bad I want this belt. I'd be lying to you if I tried to underestimate how much this would mean to me. I want this title extremely bad. I want to be able to say, look at me. Look at what has happened. In a year's time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. Being told no, being told I'm going to be let go, being told I won't ever break a glass ceiling. To saying screw all of that. To turning all that doubt into motivation, into piss and vinegar. Being pissed off for greatness so much so that I capture the GCW World Championship. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. It needs to come home to me. It's gotta come home to me. And I feel like the savant I am, I cannot fight with emotion leading the way. In everyday life, you're going to face struggles. You're going to face ups and downs. There's going to be things that there's going to be things out of your control. That whether you have a great grasp on your emotional maturity or not, makes you feel some type of way. Gets you leading with emotion. I feel like the smartest people are able to compartmentalize their emotions. Something might happen right now that really pisses me off. But I don't let that distract me or deter me from a secular mission, if that makes sense. You got to keep your eyes on the prize, and you cannot lead with emotion. If you have properly prepared yourself, if you put the wheels in motion and your skill set is certain that you can get a job done, do not let your emotions deter you from your game plan. Do not let your emotions have you halt or take a step back or become a stumbling block for you to get to where you're going, which is your goals. I am your philosopher, your motivational speaker, your life coach, and I'm giving you a sound piece of advice that I myself must practice if I'm preaching it. Don't lead with emotion. Compartmentalize. Demonstrate some self-control, some self-awareness. As humans, we are going to slip up. It's not going to be the case in every single situation. However, if you can lock in, focus your mind, train yourself to lead without emotion and with a ferocious dedication, then I promise you nothing can stop you from achieving your goals. But you cannot get distracted. Which leads me to July 4th. I dislocated my elbow in a backyard wrestling match. GCW has their annual backyard show where I wrestled one of my best friends. In life. No bullshit. Shoot. Best friends. AK-47. I had attacked him at a Rochester show a few months prior. That led to this match, and it was awesome. I went by my old backyard wrestling name, Cage, in that match. Since becoming KJ Orso, I refuse to do any sort of flips. I refuse to let the adulation of the crowd or trying to impress the crowd be the main focus of my match. My focus in matches are to cause damage and to win the match. And so I haven't been hitting any flashy flips. But because I was reverting back to my old school cage moniker, I thought I needed to do some old school cage type things. And on this one flip that I did do that day, I landed wrong on that trampoline and dislocated my elbow. And it has made it to where I can't work out properly. Going to the gym has been non-existent really, because I just I can't curl my arm. I can't do any type of bench presses. I can't lift things over my head for it to heal properly. Now, I understand me calling myself a savant, a philosopher. The next sentence that comes out of my mouth is going to sound extremely stupid, but I have not went to the doctor to get this arm checked out. Now, some might say, what the hell? Why? Well, first of all, health insurance is bullshit right now. I'm still paying off some things that I had happen last year. It's ridiculous. I think the healthcare system and how insurance is set up, and if it's, if a hospital or something covers or is in your insurance's network, the networking bullshit I hate. I've dislocated a bunch of fingers. I know it doesn't directly correlate to an elbow dislocation, but I've done a ton of research, and I hate that phrase too. Do your own research. That's so stupid. You should definitely go get it checked out by a doctor if you have a serious injury. However, there is if nothing happened with my tendons inside or any of my ligaments damage, it should heal in 6 to 8 weeks. And that's if you're not doing anything crazy. And I have done a few crazy things, but for the most part, I've been extremely smart at the moves and the matches that I've done to make sure that I don't hurt this any worse than it already is. So hopefully within that 6 to 8 week period, I'll be 100%. I can go back to working out in the gym. It screws me up because I've been putting on a lot of weight lately, or have been at least in the past year, but I feel like I've lost a little bit of muscle mass. However, it has leaned me out a little bit, so the abs are popping a little bit more. I do feel like I'm leaner, and that still looks good for pro wrestling. But I need to get in a better shape. I want to get bigger because I want to get to a top company, and I feel like to be a world champion in a top company, you need to look the part. And maybe you don't, maybe some people don't believe in that nowadays in this day and age, but I feel like for the companies I want to get to, there is still some sort of stigma there that I need to get into better shape. And then I like challenging myself. I like setting a goal for myself and achieving it. So I'm trying to put on this weight. So this setback, this stumbling block sucks. However, it is not stopping me from wrestling. It is not stopping me from making towns and going to shows and doing what I need to do to continue on the path to success that I feel like I've set for myself and that I know I'm going to achieve. It's not a matter of if I get signed again. It's a matter of when I get signed again. It's not a matter of if I capture this GCW world title. It's a matter of when I capture this world title. I have a ton of dates coming up. Check me out on social medias. I'll be putting out a post on Sunday to let people know all the upcoming dates I have, probably up until September, October. I'm trying to fill more Fridays and Sundays. I got a ton of Saturdays already booked up. So you should definitely come see me at a show. You should definitely keep supporting this. If you see any of the clips out on social media, please give them a like and a retweet and a reshare and a repost and all that good stuff. Tell your friends about the Patreon. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the people that are here, even though it might be a small, minute number. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you for being here because we're building something bigger. And you will be here to say, hey, I was supporting this guy when KJ Orso was just getting started, before he ever got signed again, before he ever won those major world titles. So we keep the pod under 30 minutes. I really didn't even touch on SummerSlam or the WWID stuff like I wanted to, but that just leaves that for next week's show. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about TV shows I've been watching like Big Brother or the Apple TV show Stick, about golf. I've been recently getting into golf lately, so maybe I'll touch on that. But I want to hear from you. So please, in the comments below, tell me, or on the Patreon, tell me what questions you would like answered, what stories you would like me to tell. I would love to do all that for you on next week's episode of Or So You Thought. Follow me on the socials, and thank you for trying to better yourself with me. See you next week.